You're listening to the REITE Club podcast, where the focus is all about helping you grow your real estate investment portfolio and live the life you want to live. Come grow with us and join our community at thereiteclub.com. And now your hosts, Sarah Larby and Alfonso Salemi.
That's definitely a great answer. So I like that you said you keep your vibe high and you want to stay happy and motivated. What are some things that you do every day to be your best self and just feel that passion and that excitement?
Okay, so my first thing that I do, and the one thing is probably the biggest thing that I recommend to my clients, is to have a morning routine. And for those of you listening, if you're rolling your eyes, you're thinking, oh, the morning routine, I know, I've heard it, but I don't have time in the morning. Hal Elrod is the creator of the Miracle Morning. And I give all the credit to him for this. He does a phenomenal job, and he's created the 6-minute miracle morning. And I firmly believe everybody has 6 minutes every morning. He has 6 steps, 1 minute for each step. And it's really about how you start your day is how you run your day, right? So a minute of journaling, a minute of reading, out of a really good personal development, something to feed your mind. A minute of breathing, affirmations, whatever it is, you can design it however you want, but I think a morning routine is key. And that's something, when I don't do my morning routine, I feel more reactive than proactive and more rushed, more frazzled. So it's really important to me that I have to get up early because I don't have a lot of time in the morning, and I have to make it an effort to get up early to be able to do that. But things like this are very easy to do, but they're also easier not to do. So I think that's why people struggle with them a lot. So morning routine would be my first thing. Number 2 would be, I'm a huge believer in incorporating intermittent fasting through cellular cleansing. That kind of goes back to the gut health and just
really
really just helping our bodies function the way they're supposed to. Here's the issue. Our liver cleanses our body naturally, and it always has. That's just how our bodies are designed. The problem is our liver was not designed to handle the level of toxicity and environmental stress that we're dealing with today. So that's why a lot of people really struggle with gut health, bloating, inflammation, headaches, lack of sleep, all that kind of stuff. It's because your body is in overload with toxicity and your liver just can't keep up. So I'm a huge believer in incorporating intermittent fasting. If done the right way, it can be extremely effective in being able to release the toxins from the organs, from the bloodstream, target the visceral fat, which for a lot of people is in the belly area. That's very hard to reduce, and really helps bring the body back to an alkaline state. It's almost like taking a bubble bath from the inside out. So that's something that I incorporate regularly, both from an athletic perspective and from a just everyday life perspective. A lot of my athletes that I work with and train use this as well to help their performance. And then the third thing, my third tip for living an extraordinary life, I'm a huge believer in vision boards and writing out your goals. Very simple things to do, but again, simple is not always easy for a lot of people. The one thing I want people to remember is visual is memorable. So you can probably see behind me, I have a couple of boards behind me. Getting your family involved or your business partners, doing vision board parties together, things like that, where you're really just putting up your goals. So every time you look at that, those are visual. Same with writing out your goals weekly, monthly, and not a number. Let's say your goal is, some people will be like, well, I want to lose 20 pounds. Try to steer away from goals that relate around, numbers, around, weight loss, or I want to make 6 figures or whatever, but more about how you want to show up. How do you want to show up, and how do you want to be the best vision of you? That's really what I would target your goals around. And then I would review those every single day. So that's what I do, as part of my journaling. And then of course my vision boards as well. So those would probably be my top 3 tips.
One of our previous podcast guests on the Mind State segment, Gary Hibbert, talked about how important goals were to him, and that he really does write his goals out. And one thing he mentioned, and maybe you could just talk a little bit about this, because I can see in the background there on your board that you've written out with a pen, and that means you've used your hand, and that means it's kinesthetic. It's not just like the typing on the phone, right?
Yeah. This right behind me, I got this whiteboard on Amazon, and it's a peel and stick. I think it was like $14, and it's a huge board, but I think it was one of the best investments. So I have one for my personal goals and then one for my business. And like you said, Laurel, it's amazing because you're using your hand, you know, again, that visual is memorable, but then also actually doing the activity of writing it out is also really key.
That's good. And, you know, I'm actually, I'm fascinated by this whole intermittent fasting. And I know that, like, you know, we're working on time here as well, but can you just talk about like why that is really important and how that is really important? And then when you're talking about intermittent fasting, how many hours is that actually?
Yeah. So there's lots of different ways to do it. And actually Google ran a study not too long ago where they kind of pull up what the top Googled items are. Intermittent fasting is always one of the top ones. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. I do it through the holistic superfood line that I use and my family uses and what I coach from, because there's a lot more minerals and adaptogens and herbs, things like that, that really help with environmental stress, that kind of thing, but also supports your intermittent fasting. It really depends on the individual. I mean, most of my customers will do an intermittent fast anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. They're basically giving the digestive system a rest from processing whole foods. However, it's a supported intermittent fast. So there's portions of nutrition that are being fed into the body every couple of hours to keep the body in a fasting state, but still keep the blood sugar stable, right? Because you don't want to crash and burn. Some people will do an intermittent fast, like we've heard, you know, using lemon and water, and not that that's bad, but it can be very hard to sustain long term. If I'm working with people who have certain medical conditions, say diabetics, or, you know, people who have, you know, any kind of autoimmune issues or anything like that, you know, we might not do a full day intermittent fast or cleanse. We might do something overnight where they're taking some of the Cleanse for Life that we use, is the product that we use, just before they go to bed. It acts as a gentle cleanse, but it still helps with that bloating and inflammation, and still helps bring the body back to that alkaline state, and so that it's less acidic, basically. So it's very customizable. It's not a one size fits all. You have to do it this way. I really work with the client to figure out what their lifestyle is and what is going to work best for them. Like if I'm working with a high level athlete, I'm not going to put them on a 48-hour cleanse because that just doesn't make sense for, you know, their level of activity and their body type. So we really work together to find something that best fits, but the benefits are tremendous. Like the benefits are huge. And, you know, when people are, for my science people that love facts and things like that, you know, some great clinical studies on the benefits of it and how it can support you in your day-to-day lifestyle.
Amazing.
Which is good.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for answering that. I feel like there's so many questions I have. Maybe we'll do like a one-on-one consultation separately, but you know, it's really inspirational to, it's really inspirational to see all the
time. I don't want you guys to feel rushed. We still have some time if you have any questions.
No worries. So I definitely, you know, the audience is probably wondering, okay, well, what can I start doing? And I know you mentioned a little bit of the morning rituals and stuff like that. You know, are there any additional extra tips that you can give people so that they can, you know, feel their best as they're also investing in growing their wealth?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, every day is a chance for me to pour into people and help people and really help people feel confident and just loving their life. I think for a lot of people, coming down to really figuring out what their why is and what it is that they feel passionate about, and not what everybody else thinks they should be doing, you know, or what they feel they should be responsible to do, but more around what is that burning desire? What keeps you up at night? When you lie in bed at night, and I know there's millions of people that lie in bed at night and think, oh my gosh, I have to do this all over again tomorrow. Thinking about what lights you up. What is it that is going to shift your life to the next level? Does it mean, you know, making some decisions about relationships that you're in, making some decisions about your career? There's that fine line in the sand between being comfortable and okay, and being very uncomfortable for a period of time so that you can then transition to something absolutely spectacular. For me, that was my career. People thought I was crazy to do what I'm doing. Yes, I was laid off. I did have the opportunity to take another position within the organization. I just felt this pull and this burning desire that I was just put on this planet to do more than just sit behind a desk. And for some people, that's okay. I'm not saying that sitting behind a desk is bad, but my point is you need to listen to that inner voice that's telling you, you should do more.
Thanks for listening to the REITE Club podcast and joining our community of real estate investors online at thereiteclub.com, where the focus is about helping you grow. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks from your hosts, Sarah Larby and Alfonso Salemi.